Hey, what's up? Evan here. I know I haven't been active much, but finally I get to review a new release, which, I have for the past while, but whatever. Yeah, this review's on Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So, the plot of this movie is many, many years after the events of War for the Planet of the Apes. Apes have basically taken over the world, and lots of the humans are very wild, and they're kind of a lower life form, and all the apes have evolved all their senses, and they their language skills are definitely gotten better. They act more human like, and they've just gotten so advanced from where they started. And there's this young ape named Noah who one day meets this little human girl named May who and they become friends. They form a friendship, and they both get along and go on a big adventure going around the world. But he also tries to fight for the rights of humans and trying to think, you know what, don't deserve to be held captive. They don't deserve to be mistreated. They can live just as well as us. And he goes against this evil ape named Proximus Caesar, who plans to enslave all these humans and use their technology to form a bigger planet and have the planet of the apes, mind you, have it run over and have all humans be proven wrong that apes can run a world and they could all have high power. This movie was very good. I really, you know what? Aside from Dune Part Two, this has got to be my favorite movie of the year so far. I really, really enjoyed this one. I do. If you're wondering, I guess I should say what I thought of the other three Planet of the Apes movies before I say I like them all. I've only seen the reboot series of like this series, like Rise, Dawn, War. Those are the only ones I've seen. I've never seen the really old ones, nor have I seen the Tim Burton remake. But you know what? For movies that have such stupid plots, they're actually really good. They're basically proof when I always say just because something is fantasy doesn't mean it has to be stupid and be goofy. See, like you could take a ridiculous concept of humans and monkeys fighting for their rights and you can make a genuine serious story out of it, and that's what they did here, and they still got it down right. And this was a really good movie, and even though War for the Planet of the Apes I felt like was still good as is for Caesar's story, because this one obviously Caesar isn't in this one because it takes place so long after, but it continues the reboot trilogy's legacy without feeling unnecessary. In fact, it really honors it without feeling like a rehash of the other movies. Because but just like the last two movies, Dawn and War for the Planet of the Apes, most of it takes place in like a very deserted jungle-like area, and they go through lots of like big open spaces. Whereas Rise was mostly just about the technology of the apes, and it was mostly just about James Franco. So this one definitely explores lots of the world more, and it really helps because that's the whole point of the movie with the apes. The whole thing in the apes is that they've really evolved, because in the earlier movies the apes only spoke maybe a few words at most, although in the last movie, I remember there was that one a bad ape who he was funny. He did speak in kind of partial full sentences, so it was kind of weird seeing that. But here you can tell like the apes, like they've really advanced their language skills and their intelligence, and you can tell like they're very evolved. So it was weirdly really neat seeing them like this, and they don't look too weird. Like seeing the apes actually talk and move around, like it still looks really cool. Like the effects still look great. Like they don't look too animated. They're CGI. Like they still look like real apes. They just have facial movements. So it doesn't look off. It still looks believable, and that's really the thing about these new Planet of the Apes movies. Like they don't just have guys in suits. They can have real looking apes and have it look, yeah, maybe in hindsight take something that would be pretty silly, but manages to make them, dare I say, really cool. And even the human characters, unlike unlike Godzilla X Kong, this the focus on the human characters in this one, because obviously the girl who Noah befriends, like she doesn't hog the story a lot. It doesn't focus on her, but when she's there, she's a really good character, and it's really good to see a young ape focus have have an interaction with a human and see, you know what, maybe there's a lot more to these humans than people would think. So yeah, it is kind of a, you know, basic story about like two opposing groups fighting each other, but it manages to do it in a way that's still really good and has a really good atmosphere to back it up, and it manages to keep it really entertaining. Like a bunch of apes going around. Like it looks silly, but it's so weird and interesting. You can't help but like it, and there's a lot of great action, of course, just like the last two movies. I mean, like Rise of the Planet of the Apes didn't have a lot of action, but the sequels did, and this definitely adds to it. Like there's lots of big scale action, there's lots of fighting, lots of apes like beating each other up. It's crazy and it's really fun, and it's everything you want in a Planet of the Apes movie. Like it's something with some good characters, lots of good world building, some really fun action, and it's takes an inherently silly concept that makes it really cool. So I don't really know what more can I say about this movie. If you love the other three Planet of the Apes in the reboot trilogy, or I guess now it's a quadrilogy, if you love those other movies, you'll definitely like this one. It's definitely worth a watch. Okay, and the trailers I got before the movie, I got Bad Boys Ride or Die. Of course, it was the Green Band trailer. Of course, it was. Yeah, I still got to see the other three Bad Boys movies. This trailer, like this movie, does look funny. I do want to check it out. Hopefully, when I see the other three, I definitely want to see the other three now because this movie looks funny. I got Inside Out 2. Yeah, this is kind of a weird one, but it's kind of weird when you get trailers for kids movies before like action blockbusters, but whatever. I'm interested. I mean, Inside Out I think is just fine as one movie, as I've already said, but you know what? It's Pixar. Usually they're great with putting stories first, so I definitely will see it. Uh, I got Mufasa the Lion King. Does the Lion King really need a prequel? I mean, it doesn't look bad, but I mean, and the effects still look really good. Like, say what you will about the Lion King remake, the CGI was spectacular, and this one feels no different. But I don't know. I don't know if this is really needed. But I mean, I don't think it'll suck, but I don't really have any particular interest. I got Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm so excited, and it was the new trailer this time, and of course it was a green band version. And you know, it's funny. They actually had a scene that wasn't in the version in the trailer that you see on YouTube. Like this one actually had a scene. You know that part in the trailer where there's that giant Ant-Man helmet with the skull. They actually added in another scene where Deadpool says, "Huh, Paul Rudd finally aged," and this movie's got to be fun. I mean, I know you guys know I really love Wolverine, and I think Hugh Jackman looks really good. I mean, yeah, I know this movie is a comedy, but one, Deadpool is supposed to be a funny character, and two, I think Wolverine does work with this kind of movie. I think his gruff bad boy attitude and snarky personality work in a comedy like Deadpool. So I think him and Deadpool will have a great like buddy cop type friendship with each other. So and for a movie that was made during the writer's strikes, it still looks really well made. So I can't wait to see it. It looks like it'll be wildly fun. And I got Despicable Me 4. This one looks like it'll be fun. I mean, what more can you say? It's a Despicable Me movie. You get lots of spy action, lots of minion shenanigans. It pretty much looks like what you'd expect. But yeah, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, a really good summer movie to start it off.